Umapaske at Freemason. And my full name I go by is Omine Dedichka, which is the Green Keeper. In Inyo, the people of the Inyo, we call ourselves the Cree. We look up in the sky and we see those stars. The elders call them Ajagosak. Ajagosak, the stars. The root word being Ajak, which is energy. Somewhere up there is where we come from. And we come here for a visit. And we take a physical form, and then we continue our journey. There was one particular being of energy, Atavis is called a star woman. She was traveling the cosmos and she saw that hole in the sky. She looked for a hole in the sky and she saw Earth. And she wanted to go down there. But she knew she couldn't negotiate that hole in the sky. One of her relatives, called Ubu Nagasi's grandmother Spider, sat on the Milky Way. And she was in charge of the doorways. And so, Atavis's girl, Star Woman, approached Ubu Nagasi. She said, there's 3 conditions that you're going to meet. One condition is when you go down there, you're going to take a physical form. Other condition is when you go down there, you got to bring a gift. And the third condition is when you go down there, you can't stay long. So Atavis's girl, Star Woman, she said, okay, I agree to those conditions. So Ubu Nagasi's, she sent a single strand of women to that hole in the sky. And she lowered down Star Woman to Earth. And when Star Woman touched the Earth, she took a physical form, and that physical form was us, the human beings. And the gift she brought with her was the 7-pointed star blanket. So the original star blanket had 7 points to represent the 7 stars of the Pleiades. She brought that gift to remind herself where she came from and where she had to go back to when her time was over here. And that's where staying long, how long is long for being of energy. So she stayed a lifetime. Through her, we're told, we all come to this place with Daisuke, this earth here. And we stay, and we experience, and then we go back. We make a return journey. And that single strand of webbing that Ubu Nagasi sent through the hole in the sky to lower down Star Woman, we call that the umbilical cord. And that's how we all get here. So the 7-pointed star that Star Woman brought down, that was the original star blanket. And they represent the hole in the sky by one Easter, the Pleiades. So when we're born, in traditional times, they would wrap us in a star blanket. That's how. And then when we pass on again, they would wrap us in a blanket and tell us we're going back home now. To that hole in the sky, to that place. Every culture in basic earth have their own connections to the sky. Because every culture in the basic earth lives under that sky. Especially in the wintertime up in the northern hemisphere, we live under that sky sometimes 16 hours a night. So we become very intimate with that sky. And patterns were recognized. Predictions were made. They connect the things up there to what happens down here. Every culture has their own understandings. This is just one of many. our people, we traveled all the time. We very rarely stayed in one place for a lengthy period of time. And being that we're traveling, we needed some form of guidance, some form of GPS. Keewatin and the stars that surround Keewatin, the circumpolar stars, we could navigate in the night sky and we could tell what time it was, and pretty much where we were. So if you're standing in a southerly direction, facing Keewatin, you know that's north. And if you know that's north, then you know that to the left you will be west, and to the right you will be east. And once you find the east-west southerly directions, you know that the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. But not only that, the moon rises in the east and sets in the west. And even the stars at night, as it gets dark out, you can sit all long enough and see that they rise in the east, up across the sky, and they set in the west. Keewatin is the only star up in the sky in the northern hemisphere that doesn't move. It stays stationary in the sky. And the reason that is because our Earth is tilted at a 23.5 degree angle, with our northern axis pointing just about directly at Keewatin. So as our Earth spins on its axis, it gives you the impression that Keewatin is standing still and all the animals dance around. Keewatin comes from the root word Kiwe, which means home. The star of Keewatin Natchavas is the going home star. Those simple observations, we disconnected ourselves from that knowledge. You look up at the sky and you know exactly where you are. So you can't be lost. Wherever you are is home. My community is along the shore of the northern bank of the Saskatchewan River in north central Manitoba. I'm from the Basquiat Cree Nation, so I speak Swampy Cree dialect. You speak Eagle. The Cree stretch right from BC into the northern states, up to the Nunavut border, right across into northern Quebec. I remember when I was very young looking at those skies, especially in September, October, those were my best times of the year. We stay outside and stare up at those stars and ask all kinds of questions. Of course, I was by myself, so nobody ever answered me. I'd always wondered about that sky. And it wasn't until I got older that I started listening to the stories and making those connections that had to be made. Now, people have a lot of stories, but they don't sit down and they tell you the stories about the stars. They tell you a story, And from the story, you've got to delve into what's being said, and then you've got to make your own connections and make your own inferences. That's how the process of story making is. It's up to the listener to immerse themselves in the story and be part of that story.